Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I am going to be giving you guys my Formula 1 2021 predictions. I started watching Formula 1 in 2020 because of the pandemic. I had more time to watch Formula 1. Obviously, I knew about Formula 1 before last year, but with more time to watch, more time to pretty much do anything, I definitely took up watching Formula 1, and I had a blast. It was absolutely awesome watching the races. I think I watched every single race except for maybe one or two of them. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a very awesome season, and I look forward, obviously, to watching this new season that's going to start, I guess, in a couple of months. And yeah, so I thought, you know what, why not do a little prediction video, have a little bit of fun, and just see what's up. But before we get into the predictions, can you please like the video and subscribe to the channel? I know it's kind of a funny thing or a petty thing to ask, but I'm a small channel, and even 1 or 2 likes really helps out. And with that being said, let's get on to the predictions. So first, we are going to be doing the team championship, the Constructors Championship. And I think it comes to no surprise that in first place, I predict Mercedes. It's pretty obvious why I picked Mercedes. They won it last year. They won it pretty handily. Any very small rule changes or whatever that is going to take effect in 2021, I think isn't really going to have pretty much any effect on Mercedes. I think they are still going to dominate. They're going to win the title pretty handily. So yeah. In first place, Mercedes. Coming in at number 2 is Red Bull Racing. I think Red Bull is a very good team. Obviously, they got second place last season. Again, there's not going to be that much changes to the car, so they should still be very powerful and very fast. Obviously, Verstappen is amazing as a driver. Probably arguably the best driver on the grid. Him alone, he can get so many points for Red Bull. And then adding Perez, I think, is very beneficial to the team. It could only go up. Albon was cool, but Perez was great last season. So I think Red Bull Racing, number 2. So for number 3, I will predict Aston Martin, or formerly known as Racing Point. I think they are a very fast car. You saw it last year. I think the car obviously was everybody said it was a copy of the 2019 Mercedes, but I still believe they're going to have a very good car. I think adding Sebastian Vettel is going to be very good. I still do think Seb is a good driver. And I think Lance Stroll is also a very good driver. People like to make fun of him. I don't. I genuinely think he's actually a really good, not a really good driver, but he's decent. He's pretty decent, and he's pretty consistent, I would say. But I think they can pretty much carry their form from last season to this season, which they got third last season. So I don't really expect anything more, anything less from them. So Aston Martin, number 3. Number 4 might be a bit of a surprise, but I predict Ferrari will get 4th place. Obviously last season, 2020, they had a very terrible car. I think everybody knew that. It was probably because of some of the stuff they did with their car before the season started. But I think they're going to be fine. I think they're going to fine-tune their car. It's Ferrari, right? They've got plenty of money. They've got 2 very good drivers. And I think they're going to, get their act together and really, start climbing again after a really down year. So I think Ferrari, 4th place. In 5th place, I will predict McLaren. So McLaren, obviously this offseason, they added Ricciardo, and I do believe he is still a fantastic driver. Even last year when he was on Renault, I think he got like 2 podiums, maybe 3. I can't really remember, but he was really good last season, right? And so I expect him to carry over his form. Arguably, the McLaren car is better than Alpine, I guess now they're called Alpine or Renault's car. And plus this season, I think McLaren, they're getting the Mercedes engine, if I am correct. And that will, I think, only benefit McLaren. And obviously, Norris was very, very good last season, and I still expect him to do very well. And so I think the combination of Ricciardo and Norris, and with the new Mercedes engine that McLaren is going to get, I think they're going to do fine. I think they're going to get 5th place and have a generally a pretty decent season. So in 5th place, I predict McLaren. In 6th place, I predict Alpha Tauri. Yeah, I mean, I think they had a pretty good season last year. I mean, Gasly was phenomenal in my opinion. He was definitely, for me, probably in terms of just last season, was like a top 5 driver in terms of performance. He was amazing in that Alpha Tauri, and I do believe he's going to continue his form. I think him getting another year in the car is going to be very beneficial for him. And I think he is going to continue his very strong form. And obviously, for the second driver, they have Yuki Tsunoda. I think he's promoted from Formula 2. And from what I've gathered, he was really good in Formula 2. And so, I don't expect him to be, groundbreaking or anything. But I think he's going to be at least decent. I mean, the car is still, I think, a pretty okay car. I mean, it's more of it's obviously a midfield car, but it was still really good, I think, right? I mean, Kvyat last season piloted the car really well, and so I think the car is going to be decent, and I think the combination of Gasly and Tsunoda is going to get AlphaTauri to 6th place. In 7th place, I predict Alpine, or formerly known as Renault. I think last season they were really good. Ocon was pretty decent. Ricciardo was, I think, fantastic. And I think carrying into this season, they're still going to have a pretty strong car, I think. I think Ocon he's going to continue doing what he does. He's I don't know what to think about Ocon, but he's going to do fine, I think. And obviously they're going to get Fernando Alonso in the car. I don't know how well he'll do. Obviously, I know he's a 2-time world champion, but I don't know. I don't know how well he'll do, but I think they're going to be all right. I think they're just going to be all right. I think they aren't going to really do anything special, but they're not going to be completely bottomed out or anything. I think they're going to be a team that's going to be competing for maybe like 7th, 8th, for the drivers. And you know what? Maybe they'll surprise everybody, but I don't think they're going to get really higher than 7th. Maybe they can get past AlphaTauri, but other than that, I don't really see it. So for me, Alpine is going to be 7th. In 8th place, I predict Alfa Romeo. And last season, they were actually pretty fun to watch because both Kimi and Giovinazzi, they actually, in my opinion, at least in my untrained eye opinion, they drove pretty well. I mean, it was just unfortunate that they really never got anywhere. I mean, their car was not very good, but they were enjoyable to watch. I mean, Kimi had his moments last season. I think Giovinazzi was pretty decent for being in a bad car. But I don't think they're gonna be doing much this season. I think it's going to be pretty much more of the same. I think Kimi's going to have his moments. Giovinazzi's going to have his moments. But at the end of the day, I think they're going to be a backmarker team. I think they're the best of the 3 backmarkers, but I don't really see them anywhere higher than 8th. Their car probably isn't going to be very good. But again, Kimi and I think Giovinazzi will deliver some really cool moments for us. And, I'm actually going to be looking forward to watching them. So in 9th place, I have Williams. Obviously, they're carrying over their 2020 driver lineup of George Russell and Nicholas Latifi. I think Russell, obviously, he was a fan favorite last season. Obviously, he got his chance at Mercedes, did really well. Unfortunate what happened to him. But he's going to be back in the Williams this year. The car isn't going to be very good. But I think George is going to surprise some people, I think, even in the Williams. And for Latifi, I mean, he's all right, but he has pretty much been like last on most races. If nobody like DNFs or anything, he's usually near the bottom anyway, and I don't really expect anything more than what we saw last season from Latifi. So I think they're going to be ninth. They're going to score maybe a couple of points, but other than that, I don't really see Williams really going anywhere. They're going to be ninth. And honestly, the only reason I put them ahead of Haas is because of experience. So yeah, Williams, 9th place. And in 10th, I have Haas, the only American team in Formula 1. Yeah, I mean, obviously this season they have 2 new drivers, Mick Schumacher and Mazepin. I am excited to watch Mick Schumacher. I think he's going to overperform. Or overperform the car is what I meant to say. And then Mazepin, I mean, obviously he's not the greatest guy. So honestly, I don't expect anything from him because the Haas car sucks, and I don't think he really is that very good. I think there were probably other Formula 2 drivers that probably deserve the seat more than him, or other drivers. But obviously he got a seat. So yeah, I don't think they're going to be very good, but that's really just because they're both rookies, right? I think that's going to be the biggest factor into why they're not going to be very good. I don't think they will score any points at all, maybe 1 or 2. So yeah, I expect them to be dead last. Look forward to 2022. Maybe they can do something, but in 2021 I think they're going to be last. So Haas, 10th place. Before we get to the drivers championship prediction, let's hear a word from I'm just kidding. I don't have any sponsors. I have less than 10 subscribers. No one is going to be sponsoring my videos. Okay, maybe that was a bit lame. Okay, anyway, let's get on to the drivers standings, or my predictions for the driver standings. Well, since there are 20 drivers in Formula 1, I think the video will get pretty long if I go through every single one of these drivers and give my full thoughts and predictions of where they're supposed to be and why I think they should be there or will be there. So I'm just gonna mention any notable people, I think, or any notable drivers, that probably stand out in the driver standings. Obviously on the screen you'll see my full predictions. So yeah, so for the winner or the champion, I'm gonna just predict Hamilton. I mean, it's pretty safe bet to predict Hamilton. He is going to do phenomenal, I think. I mean, he's, in my opinion, the best driver on the grid. And he's going to be in the best car on the grid, and that's a very lethal combo, right? So he's going to get first place. Verstappen's going to get second place. Nothing really special. I mean, he's really good. The Red Bull car is really good. So second place for Verstappen. I think Bottas is going to get third place. Bottas, he was fine. I think he gets a lot of shit, but I think he's a very fine driver. I think he's a fine driver, but he's going to be third. Obviously, he's going to be in the Mercedes. He's going to be in a good car. He's going to get third. Now, in fourth place is going to be a bit special, or whatever you want to call it. I think Sebastian Vettel is going to get fourth place in the Drivers' Championship. I really like Seb. I really believe in Seb. I really think he is going to show out next season. He's going to get into the Aston Martin car, which last season, obviously, the Racing Point car was really good. I think they're continuing to be very good. The car is going to be very good. I think Seb is going to show why he is a 4-time world champion. He is going to surprise people. I think he's going to surprise people, and he's going to really, really put it to a lot of people. So I think he's going to get fourth. Now, fifth, I have Ricciardo. Last season, he drove really well at Renault. And this season, he's going to McLaren. And obviously, McLaren is going to be getting a Mercedes engine this year. So I expect the car to be better. Ricciardo, in my opinion, is still a top half driver. Not even top half, like a top 6 or top 5 driver. I think he's still really good. And with that McLaren car, with the Mercedes engine, I think he's going to do fantastic. Sixth place, I have Sergio Perez. Yeah, I don't. I think a lot of people are expecting Perez to be really high up there, right? Maybe third. Maybe he'll overtake Bottas or something. But I think Perez is just gonna do pretty decent. I don't think he's gonna do anything special. I honestly don't really expect too much from Perez. I think he's gonna end up kind of like Albon in terms of performance. Like not in the way that Albon was, either finishing really good or very bad. Like that was how Alex Albon was last season. I think Perez is going to be very consistent. So I think he's just gonna get sixth place. It's kind of a weird prediction. I think most people put him a bit higher, but I put him in sixth. Seventh place, I have Charles Leclerc. I mean, he was good last season in a bad Ferrari. I think this year Ferrari's gonna get their act together mostly, so he's gonna do well. I think Lance Stroll is gonna be eighth. He, in my opinion, is a good driver. He gets a lot of shit. I said it before. He gets a lot of shit, but I think he is going to do well in that Aston Martin, and he's gonna be eighth. Ninth, I have Gasly. Last season, Gasly was fantastic, and I think he's going to continue his form, but I think the drivers ahead of him are all in better cars, and quite frankly, I think Gasly might take a tiny step back, but, I mean, even a tiny step back from last season is going to be a very good season for Pierre, so I think Pierre Gasly is going to be ninth place. So in 10th, I have Carlos Sainz, and I think his move to Ferrari is obviously going to be good for him. I mean, anytime you get an opportunity to drive for Ferrari, you're going to do it. So I think he's going to get 10th. I don't think really there's much to say. I mean, he's a good driver. I think the Ferrari car is going to be, it's going to be adequate. But I think he's going to do fine. He's not going to do anything special. I think he's just going to do fine, and he's going to get 10th. And 11th, I have Norris. And Norris, obviously last season he was really good. I mean, and yeah, I mean, obviously he's going to be in the same car that Ricciardo is, and I said Ricciardo is going to be in fifth because of the car, and I have Norris a little bit low, and this is more because I want to add a little bit of spiciness to my predictions. I don't just want it to be, very standard or whatever. So Norris 11th, yeah, a little bit low for Norris maybe, but I want to spice things up. So Ocon, I'm gonna have 12th. I mean, I don't really have much to say about Ocon. To be honest, I don't really care that much about Ocon, so he's 12th. I think he is going to do better than his teammate Alonso, who's going to be 13th. I think Fernando, he's going to be all right, but I think Ocon has the experience in the car already, so he's going to perform better than Alonso, in my opinion, and Alonso's experience is what is going to take him as far as he's going to get this season. So 13th for Alonso, 14th for Kimi. Same reason, really. I mean, the car is not going to be very good for Kimi, but I think his experience is going to help carry him through the season, and I think he's just going to do fine. 15th, I have Yuki Tsunoda, and this is because I think not only is I think he's actually a pretty good driver. I think the Alpha Tauri car is actually kind of decent, and so I expect Tsunoda to be duking it out for maybe like 8th, 9th, or 10th or something like that. And he's going to be picking up like scrap points, which is going to be good for him, right? I mean, obviously it's first year in Formula 1. So in 16th, I have Giovinazzi. He's a decent driver in a bad car. I think he's going to pick up some points. I mean, he picked up points last season. I think he's going to pick up points this season. And it's just going to be pretty much more of what we saw last season from Giovinazzi. So 16th for Giovinazzi. I think Russell is going to get 17. I think he's going to score points with Williams. I do predict that. But he's too good of a driver to not score points, I think. Obviously, the Williams car holds him back. But, yeah, Russell 17th. He's going to be ahead of Mick Schumacher, who I do think is going to actually score some points, which I'll talk about in maybe in more bold predictions later. But I do think he's gonna do well. He's gonna, again, like I said before, I think he's gonna outperform his car. I think Mick Schumacher is gonna outperform his car, and he's gonna do better than Latifi, who I have a 19th. Who honestly I don't really see much for Latifi. I mean, he was not very good, always near the back, and I think he's just going to be always near the back this season as well. And in 20th, I have Mazepin. Again, I don't think he's that great. And he's going to be in a bad car, which is a recipe for last place. And lastly, we have my just general predictions. Some of them are going to be bold predictions. Some of them are not going to be bold predictions. But in general, I'm just going to give you 5 general predictions that I have for the upcoming Formula 1 2021 season. So for prediction number 1, I think Sebastian Vettel will win a race. I don't know how bold this is, but I think he is going to win a race. I've said it throughout this video that I think Seb is a fantastic driver. He still is a fantastic driver. Last year at Ferrari was an anomaly because the car was so bad. And in general, I guess the team was kind of bad. But I think Seb going to Aston Martin, he's going to be in a good car, or a pretty good car. And I think he is going to surprise people and win a race. For prediction number 2, I think Mick Schumacher will finish a race with points. And obviously I don't mean he's going to win or anything, but I think he is going to finish 8th, 9th, 10th, maybe once or a couple of times. Obviously I think a lot of people have high expectations for him because of his father. But I genuinely think he is a good driver. I tried to watch a little bit of Formula 2 last season, and he was really good. Obviously, he won it. And I think he's gonna put up a good fight, and I think he is going to be scoring some points for Haas. Maybe not a lot. Maybe it's only gonna be like 3 or something, but I think he is going to score some points. Prediction number 3 is that Kimi will get a podium. And I know this is very unrealistic, so it is going to be a bold prediction. It's really just more of I think a lot of fans hope he's going to get a podium because we honestly don't know how much longer Kimi will be driving for. He's obviously the most experienced driver on the grid, the oldest, and just seeing him get one more podium, maybe a win, maybe, is going to be fantastic. I mean, it's going to be crazy if that happens. And I'm going to predict that it will. I predict that it will. Some kind of race will happen. It'll get pretty hectic. It'll get pretty crazy. And out of nowhere, Kimi Räikkönen is going to get a podium. So for prediction number 4, I'm going to say Danny Rick is going to get 4 podiums. And I know this is not a very bold prediction. Maybe a lot of people expect this to happen. But yeah, I mean, last season with Renault, I think he scored, 2, 3 podiums? I think 2. I think he's going to be in a better car that's going to have a Mercedes engine. He's too good of a driver to not score podiums. And I think he's going to, be an interesting mix. I think he's going to honestly outshine Sergio Perez, who a lot of people are expecting great things from. And yeah, not a very bold prediction. But yeah, I just predict Ricciardo is going to score 4 podiums. And for my 5th and final general prediction, I predict that Sergio Perez will not even score 1 podium. So obviously that also means he's not going to win. And I know it sounds a bit crazy. Obviously he's in the second best car in the grid. He won just last season. So a lot of people are like, well, there's no way he's not going to score a podium. So this is going to be, at least in my opinion, a very bold prediction or bold take. Just to spice things up, I think Perez, he's a very good driver. He's going to be in a very good car. But I think, the trio of Hamilton, Verstappen, and Bottas, for one, is going to get in his way a bunch. And I do think, obviously from my last prediction, I think Ricciardo is going to score some podiums. And I think he is not going to get there. I don't think he's going to get to the podiums. And this is going to be very bold. This is going to kind of be one of my long shot predictions. He'll probably score a podium. He'll probably score multiple podiums. He might even win. But for this prediction, I predict he's not going to even score 1 podium. And so that does it for my Formula 1 2021 predictions. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, enjoyed some of my predictions. Maybe you guys can leave some of your predictions in the comments below. And yeah, I look forward to this new season, upcoming season. It's going to be awesome. And yeah, remember to like and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys next time.